Hey guys, Jim Bounds at Motorhome Rehab Ranch. And by the way, I say this at the end, but when you finish watching one of these things, and by the way, watch it to the end. I know that the normal lemmings listen to about 6 or 8 minutes worth of stuff and you go on. Don't do that because I run information all the way to the end. Okay? And give me a comment at the end. It helps me feel good because I know what made you. Give me a comment. Tell me what's happening. Something you like, you don't like, or whatever. All right. Here recently, we finished this video series about rebuilding the entry door. Okay. Well, here it is. And while I was doing this, the feedback I got, I kind of brushed tight about how to do the door gasket, and I have talked about it in the past. But some folks wanted me to redo about how to finish this door gasket, and I'd be happy to. Well, the original door gasket that we have is a single-sided gasket. In other words, the gasket's on the door, and it slams and it hits this little surface right here. Problem with that is our door is slanted like this. With this surface like this, when it hits, it's an open, it's not stuck here. So the water will come in and go right past the gasket if it's not held tight. And you know how our doors are, they kind of go like this. So a single-sided gasket is not good for this application. I'll tell you another application I saw this. For about a year and a half, I was working with ambulances. That ambulance on the back, that jam-spec aluminum ambulance box that you see on all the ambulances, it has a door on the side. And the gasket on that door originally in the 90s was again on the door. Those things leaked like a sieve because the door wasn't held tight and the water went right in. We actually drilled a hole in the first step, which was recessed, so the water could get out. That wasn't a good answer. So we ended up putting a gasket on the door, but also a foam gasket on the jamb, and it made all the difference in the world. So in this application, on your door jamb, right where this gasket hits, you put a 1/2 inch by 1/8 inch sticky back foam gasket right there, right on that edge right there, all the way around. Now, when you put this stuff on, you're going to clean everything. By the way, we'll talk about finishing this in just a second. You're going to clean everything, clean it real good, clean all the stuff off. Peel this back and put it on, but don't stretch it. Don't stretch it. You want to put it on relaxed. In other words, this stuff really sticks. I don't want to do it. But you put it on and don't pull down on it because it will pull. It will stretch. But the thing is, it will stretch back. Adhesive holds something on. It doesn't hold it from stretching back. So you want to put it on relaxed. Right? Now on the door side, the original gasket is a hollow foam gasket that's supposed to compress and take up those voids as it moves. Well, that stopped at about 1989. So that original gasket really doesn't really do a job. And in our application, because of the doors we have and the age that are on them and the way they don't fit, what we did at Co-op and what I would recommend to do is this. This is 3/4 inch, 1/8 inch, again, sticky back material. Pull it out, pull the liner, and go on the door, all the way around on the door, where the original gasket was. Get all that stuff off, scrape it off, clean it up, and put this on. Because when the door shuts, you got a soft gasket on the door, you have a soft gasket on the jamb, and it's soft against soft. Much better chance of sealing in the middle of the foam than on the edge, on the door or whatever. Does that make sense? All right. So this is really what I suggest. Now, where do you get this stuff? Well, we bought this stuff at Co-op from C.R. Lawrence. You can look them up and find it in their file. But unfortunately, to buy from C.R. Lawrence, you have to be a dealer, first of all. And when you do buy one of these, and I've already done this door with this, so you can see it's a little bigger, it's 20 at a time. So you really don't want to buy this from Sarah Lawrence, even though you couldn't. There are other dealers online who'd be happy to sell you this stuff. Buy, a roll of it. I use this, both of these on this door now. Even buying one roll, you can see that I used less than half the roll to do the whole door. So you're going to have a lot of waste. Now, if you're painting your coach, clean the jam out, clean the gasket out, and paint the jam when you paint your surface. Okay? Because then you can put all the stuff in there. It looks really nice and clean and neat. But the problem is a lot of folks, when they get their coach painted, now mine's black, a lot of folks, when we get them painted, the guy does not paint the jam at the same time. He leaves the door shut. So what happens when you shut the door, everything looks fine because it's all painted. But when you open the door, all of this is nasty, the original paint, and all of this. You didn't paint the jams, and I understand it's a little bit of work, a couple hours worth of work, but that's the difference in a really detailed paint job and just a decent paint job that didn't paint the jams. If yours is a situation where you don't paint the jams aren't painted, that's fine. Bag off here and here, clean it. What I use is lacquer thinner, and then you DX330 or a wax and grease remover, and then you spray it. You bag it off. You spray it with satin black trim paint. This is from Worth, but just about any auto parts store will have satin black. When I say satin black, it is a self-etching lacquer-based paint that's very, very thin. It would actually dye. It's a dye. It's not just a paint. Okay, so you want to find satin black, and it is satin color trim paint. Right? Shake it 100 times because it is thin. Bag your jam off the door and here, and paint it black. Like Henry Ford says, black's a great color. Covers everything. All right. Now, when you go to take your jam to paint it, you're going to find this, without the leaves on it, you're going to find this J mold that's stuck on here. So you want to pull that off before you paint it. Here, I left it off intentionally because I wanted to show you what's going to happen here. I didn't paint that because the J mold was still on. Okay. Now we want this whole thing to look nice and clean and neat. Now, the next thing that we use, if you watched the video that we did on side windows, on the jam on the side windows, this is called bulb trim seal. Piece of metal, 1/8 inch, would go into this, and then here's your gasket. Make sense? All right. Now this edge right here, when the door shuts, it hits right in here. You follow? Here's a gasket. This gasket, though, you could call this a wind lace, because when you put this stuff on, okay, this little edge that sticks out right here that J molding was on fits perfect, right, with this stuff. When you put it on here, what this does, it creates a gasket right here. So when the door shuts, it hits this second gasket. I call it a wind lace because a lot of the doors will have a small crack, and when you're going down the highway, you'll hear a whistle sound. Well, if you put this in there, one piece all the way around, it's like that. Okay? When you shut the door, I got to move that in a little bit. Follow? Now it's really nice and tight. And if you look, take a look here. Take a look at the jam. What you've got is you get your 1/2 inch here. You got bulb seal trim here. Real nice setup. So my door gasket not only has a gasket here, it has a gasket here, and it has a gasket here. And look at that, it covers up where I did not paint. Follow? All right. All right, I hope that answers some of those questions that you guys were asking about door gasket. It is very, very important. Doors got to shut, right? All right. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for the questions. That's where this came from. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.